Hello, Year 6. Welcome to Monday's Big Read, our final one, hopefully, our final Monday of lockdown. We should be back in school next week. I cannot wait. Monday, 1st of March, new month, new Big Read session. So let's start, as we always do, with a bit of a starter. The starter ties into our lesson, because our lesson, as always on a Monday, is all around vocabulary. And all I'd like you to do is, thinking about the title of chapter 10, Plain Sailing, I'd like you to think about what does the phrase plain sailing mean. Now, you might already have an idea, but if you don't, I want you to see if you can work it out. Before you look it up, I'd like you to write down what you think it might mean. Then, when you've written down what you think it might mean, I then want you to use this website to look up what it actually means. And you're going to look up the etymology. The etymology is where a word comes from, what its origins are. So once you've written down what you think it means, you're then going to write down what it actually means, so you can see how close you were. And when you've done that, I'd also like you to write down a little bit about where the phrase comes from. Where did it originate? What's its etymology? That's your starter. Spend about 5 to a maximum of 10 minutes on that. And when you've done that, come and start the video up again, and I'll talk to you a little bit about what we're doing in today's lesson. I'll speak to you then. Okay, hopefully you've now got a bit more of an understanding about what plain sailing means, and that might have given you a hint as to what is going to be happening in this chapter. It might be being what we call tongue-in-cheek. That means where it's not quite being true. So plain sailing, as you'll have found out, means for everything to go really well. Maybe in this chapter, that's not exactly what happens. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. So, as it is Monday, we're going to be looking at the vocabulary from the beginning of chapter 10. And the first thing I'm going to ask you to do, just like you're quite used to doing, is filling in a table where you find synonyms for and then meanings of these different words. These words are all then going to be really useful when it comes to answering questions about the text. The first thing you should be doing is reading over the first, I think, 5 pages of chapter 10, looking for these words in their context, because they all come from within the first 5 pages of chapter 10, and using the context of the word to try and find out what they might mean. So you can start by looking at the word itself. For example, obeyed, it's got that ed on the end. That might suggest it is a past tense verb. Hailing has ing at the end, so that could be a first person, a present tense verb. So there are always clues that help us try and work out what words might be in terms of what word class, which can then help us when we're thinking of synonyms and meanings of those words. So pause the screen as you read over the first 5 pages and try and locate these words. Use the context of the words to complete this table with the synonyms and the meanings of those words. When you've done that, come back and start the video again, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the questions you're doing today, how I'd like you to answer them, and then I'll leave you to get on with that. I'll speak to you again in a moment, but go and have a go at completing this table. Speak to you when you've done. Okay, so as ever on a Monday, we're going to be looking at some vocabulary questions, and the table you've just filled in is going to be hugely useful to you in answering this. You're going to be answering questions much like the ones on the screen now. I'm not going to read them to you, they're there for you to read. So have a bit of a look, have a think which one of the 3, either green, orange or red, you want to have a go at answering. Remember, you don't have to, if you choose orange this time, you don't have to choose orange for question 2. You could go up to red if you found it too easy. You could go down to green if you found it too challenging. If it was the good level of challenging, you can stick with it. So think about which is the right level of challenge for you. Have a read of the questions, have a think about what the answers might be and how I would want you to be wording your answer. When you've done that, start the video again and I'll talk to you about what answers you should have got and how you should have written them when you were coming to write them down. I'll speak to you again in a second. Okay, so question 1, or the green question 1, was what description is used to show Elliot's thoughts about Virgo being banned from her powers? And I'd put you a little green box around the space where the answer was to be found. Remember, I always want you to answer in full sentences, and I want the question to be represented in that full sentence. So in this case, I've written the description that is used to show Elliot's thoughts about Virgo being banned from her powers is, and then quoted, incredibly dramatic. That's what he says as the description. They're the adjectives that he uses, or the adverb and adjective. For the green question, the expression cast to the ground means to be thrown down to earth. Again, you can see I am using the wording of the question in the answer, writing it as a full sentence and using the wording from the question in my answer. That's what you should be doing. And the red question, what does the expression waited for sparks to fly? The expression waited for sparks to fly means to wait for an argument or fight to break out. That's what I want you to be doing today, please. There are 5 questions altogether. You've already done one of them, so 4 remaining. You choose which level of challenge you are going for, and then you simply use the question in your answer, writing in full sentences, beginning with a capital letter, ending with a full stop, and making sure you are quoting correctly if you are giving an answer directly from the text. Look forward to seeing these. It should be the last one we're doing from home, so I'll be seeing them in class in person from next week. So I'm looking forward to that as well. I'll speak to you in English later, but for now, that's everything from me for Big Read. Speak to you soon.